no silver bullet. We have to do a lot of things. There are a great group of folks in our community called the Bluegrass Angels who provide on-the-ground support, mentoring support, as well as financial support for small, innovative companies. Generally speaking, these are folks who get involved with a company after they've gone through sort of the initial stages of their development, and they prove their concept enough to where angels put their personal money at risk and participate in the management of the companies to an extent. Having the angels in place is critically important. Helping to then provide some structure where people can get visibility is important. The Lexington Venture Club is a key element in that whole effort. By bringing together folks who have money to invest and folks who have great ideas for businesses, the Lexington Venture Club provides a way for that cross-pollination that is so necessary in an innovative economy. Beyond that, we have to help market Lexington around the world, really, as a great place for innovation. And in fact, that's what many of these national rankings help us do. When you have Forbes and you have business facilities and you have an assortment of other national publications recognizing Lexington as a great place to do business, then you start getting a little attention from the venture capitalists of the world. Now, granted, there aren't a lot of venture capital funds headquartered in Kentucky, but money travels, and where there are good ideas, venture capitalists will go and their money will follow. So what we have to do as a city is make sure the world understands what a great place this is, what an innovative place it is, how many talented people we have, as you alluded to, Eric, and the more we can market that on the national scene, the easier it will be to attract those venture capitalists and their funds into the market. That's a critical part of the mix.
So before you answer,
that question too.
Yeah, okay. We have 1 minute. Real quickly, so research that I have found, and the research can be looked at different ways. But in 2007, Austin, Texas, which is usually, no, it's a lot bigger than us, 4 times bigger than us, I totally get that. They had about $680 million of venture capital invested in their region. In 2008, only in Fayette County, I understand it's not necessarily apples to apples, we only had 67 million, maybe 670 to 68 million, so 1/10 the amount of venture capital. And it's known in this part of the country, and I talk to nonprofits and then also small businesses, access to capital, real dollars. Because we have a lot of brain power, but if we don't put it with money, we sort of just stay in this place of everything's good enough versus really dominating or being awesome. So, and I'll let you go, but 1 minute for you.
Yeah. Is this really a rebuttal, or do I get the chance to talk
we
about
can be
the
flexible
same question? Because it's really not a rebuttal. We're asking the same question. All right, okay. I've been very specific in my Fresh Start plan to say that we should recruit 3 corporate headquarters to Lexington. Now, why is that? I have the experience of having actually brought a corporate headquarters to Lexington. We grew from a smaller company into a larger company. Today, we're working all over America with customers all over the world. The experience of doing that tells me that Lexington is a special place with extraordinary assets that we can leverage. When I look around the community, some of you guys that are here tonight, Scott Clark, who is today working with our company as its search engine optimization specialist guy. And, you know, Scott came back to Lexington from Silicon Valley. He'd been there, like Alan Hawes, another friend of mine, who is running Cypress's outpost here in Lexington. There are great stories of people who have moved here, people who have come home. But by having a strength of a corporate presence here, we create more jobs. That's why a very targeted effort can be made and should be made, and I will make, to bring this level of institutional strength to Lexington.
Can I respond?
Sure, go ahead.
I have said already during the course of the campaign, it's hard to have a fresh start with stale ideas. And this is a very modest concept that the Vice Mayor has put forward, 3 corporate headquarters over the next 4 years. Well, we've done 4 the last 2 years. There's nothing novel about trying to attract corporate headquarters. And the way we've done it is by going out in some instances and attracting folks who used to be in Lexington and bringing them home. And in other instances, we've gone head to head with the Austins of the world and succeeded. So we have to aggressively market Lexington, and when we do that, we have a very compelling case that puts us on par, if not ahead, of any other location in the country for innovative businesses, and it's an easy sell, one that I enjoy, and one that we have succeeded doing.
Okay, so I want to real quickly follow up on something we talked about earlier as far as brain drain or migration, and then I want to go into is governmental officials, especially in the political climate we're in, what role does government play and that kind of stuff. But it is true that Lexington in the past 3 years has attracted more people to Fayette County than we have shipped out. At the same time, however, the people who moved away from Fayette County, like all of my friends did, most of my friends, if you move away from Fayette County to any other county in the country, on average, you earn 24% more money in those counties than you would if you moved to Fayette County. And so what we need to do, and it's great that the horse farms, we all love this area. We love it. And so we want to leverage that. We want to use that in our human capital, like you just touched on, and we want to do more of this. And so what I want to ask next, and I'll forget who's next actually, government's role. How do you view government's role in economic development? I understand all the different nuances. Government, private, I'm sorry, I talked too fast. Public-private relationships. How can government, how would you?
Well, I'd probably do it, okay, am I up? Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's good. I'd probably do it different than any mayor has before. There has been no mayor of Lexington who has had the business experience I have had. No mayor who has had that business experience since this merged government. Now, I got to be bold about these things because it's not all that customary for a company to have the same revenues as the city. 2 years ago, our company had the same revenues, $501 million, as our city. So I am familiar with dealing with these issues. I'm very familiar with dealing with recruiting industries. Now, what the mayor is not describing is the loss of jobs that have occurred in Fayette County, in this very special place. 4,600 jobs, actually by Angelo Economics' new study, 5,000 jobs have been lost in Lexington. And the mayor talks about creating 3,000 jobs, but we've lost 5,000. So that's a net loss, significant net loss. And in July of last year, what did the council say? The council said there is no meaningful, clear strategy. That's exactly what the council said, and that led to Commerce Lexington initiating a study and acknowledging that there has been no strategic plan created for Lexington in 10 years. That's a big deal. Strategic plans, I prefer to say business plans. A business plan has to be worked every day. A good business plan is going to be monitored every day and changed and adjusted, and that's what I describe in my Fresh Start plan. It's not etched in stone. It's designed to adjust and adapt and change. It's a roadmap. That's what we haven't had. That's what we need. And as mayor, that's what I'll do.
1 minute, Mayor Newberry.
Well, I didn't hear the answer to your question. Let me try to take a stab at that. It was a nice lecture, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
Well, we're accustomed to lectures.
The problem in Lexington for a long time has been we have failed to create the kind of environment here that is necessary for the private sector to generate the jobs that can sustain this economy for a long period of time. So how do you do that? Well, one of the things you do is you help bring the University of Kentucky closer to the downtown area. That's what the South Limestone project was all about. That's what Vice Mayor Gray voted against. Now, he's going to say it's vastly too expensive, but the truth of the matter is it was a bid project, not a no-bid project, as he suggested, that was designed to bring downtown and UK closer together, and it is working. That's what our streetscapes, that's what Cheapside Park is all about, to create the environment downtown where creative folks will want to come, live, and generate the kinds of new ideas necessary to sustain our economy.
What time is it? Does anybody know what time it is real quick? How much time do we have left? We have about an hour left, half an hour left. Okay, so that's a good segue to our next question.
I get to comment on South Lime.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
Many of the people in this room, and particularly I would say in our audience, are business people. They're accustomed to dealing with budgets. That's why the city creates a budget as well. And within the big budget, the total budget of the city, we have capital investment budgets. South Limestone was budgeted originally at less than $10 million. What is it today, Jim?
It's a vastly different project than that number, Jim. If you had taken any time at all to study those documents,
Well, I've taken a lot of time, Jim. I'm in the
Don't
construction
interrupt me,
business.
please.
I'm in the construction business.
You asked me. If you'd taken the time to look at those footnotes, you would have seen what was not included. If you'd taken time before you voted on it, you would have known what you were voting
The number
on. It
is,
was
do
a
you know what the
fundamentally
number is?
different project.
That's not correct.
It is.
It started out as a streetscape project. It was then added to it were underground utilities.
More than
It
a paving
then came
project,
up-
wasn't
It
it?
then came up to $10 million.
More than a paving project.
And it is now $15 million and $15 million and up. And you know
Last-
why that's important? Why that's important is because what I said then was when we as a company don't meet the budget, we go back to the drawing table. And what did you say? You said we must move ahead regardless of the cost. That's what you said.
We got the project completed. The bids were virtually identical in terms of cost. You described it last week as a paving project. A paving project. That was a gross misrepresentation.
All right, let's
And
move
you
on.
know it.
So budget. So I met with Councilmember Chuck Ellinger yesterday, actually, and some numbers, and I don't think the citizens probably know this. LFPCG's budget is going down recently, but usually what, $260 million revenues
General
coming in.
fund budget.
About 70% of their funds that come in go towards payroll. That's about what I understood correctly. Another 10-15% goes towards debt service. That means we have between 15 and 20% left over for investments in improving our quality of life, improving infrastructure, investing in economic development, investing in whatever we choose to invest in. So you talk to most experts and they realize that we're so strapped with the bills that we have to pay no matter what, and we have so little wiggle room on our money to really grow. So instead of Lexington doing good, we can do great. So what can we do to maybe make some tough choices with budget? And Councilmember Ellinger also said in 2012, the fiscal year, we have even more debt service being due, so the budget will be even tighter then. What can we do with the money we have in an economic time when there's really no seen improvement on the horizon that we know of right now? What can we do with the money we have right now, making tough choices with the budget to invest, if we want to invest, in economic development? I forget who goes first.
Well, first thing, I think the mayor went first.
Okay.
First thing we don't do is we don't spend wastefully.
Okay.
We don't overspend our budget,
Okay.
which is what we were just talking about.
Right.
We don't encourage spending $164 million on a new water treatment plant and give the utility company a blank check, and then which leads to our citizens who are already strapped having to pay more money. The mayor supported that building of that new utility plant without asking any questions. That's where we start. We start by being disciplined about what we have. We can't just whine about needing more money. We have to buckle down ourselves. We have to live within our means. In the last 4 years, our debt in the city under Mayor Newberry has increased to $370 million. That's not sustainable. The net worth of the city has declined by $94 million. So the next 4 years are going to be tough. And we all got to recognize that. But what I believe is that within the resources of our people, in the spirit of our people, we can accomplish a lot. And that's what we need to do.